Hi there, Dr. Vicky here with the Shift Happens channel. Today, we are going to talk about when you are stuck, when you want to manifest love, money, health, whatever it is. It's always that in between time. We have a clear desire, right? That's really, really clear. This is what I want. No one needs help with that. It's the time between wanting and getting. That's where all the happens, right? Well, I'm going to help you with that. I've been through this journey for over 10 years now, and I've manifested big and small things in all areas of my life. And if you want to enjoy learning how to manifest with ease, joy, and fun, it can be daunting at times. I've been there. You can have doubt. I've been there and will probably continue to be there. That's part of the experience. But when we get into our head and we start panicking and we think there is no way out of this, right? I don't know how I'm going to make the money. I don't know how I'm going to put my life together. I don't know how my health is going to improve after this horrible diagnosis. I don't know how I'm going to improve my relationship with my boss because they are just this way and there is no way out of it. Listen, it is all about the relationship, but the number one relationship is with you. Okay. And so before we get into that, go ahead and like, share, and comment. That's how we build our community here. I am here to help you. Everything I tell you on this channel, I have experienced myself, and I'm going to share my journey along the way, and I'm going to share some of my clients' success stories as well. And there have been some really great success stories, and so, but I won't uh, share them unless I get permission, of course. So let's get into it. You have a clear desire, right? That's easy. You let it go. You think, okay, I let it go. And you feel good for a day or two. You're like, wow, I'm letting it go because I know it's going to manifest. And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't see it. Well, that is often the time when all of a sudden all your core beliefs, start popping up. And you've got these negative storylines, and it's okay. You can still manifest during that moment as well. But the thing is that it all really is based on that trust and that faith in the unseen, right? So that's where you have to really let go, and the letting go is living life. I made that huge mistake. I wanted this big manifestation. Okay, it was money, right? And I thought, boy, I thought it was just always focusing on the techniques and focusing on, I got to visualize this, and I've got to do it at least 3 times a day, and have the perfect scene. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to start all over. And with my type of personality, I'm a little anxious, maybe a little OCD-ish. Okay. So that didn't work out so well for me because I got anxious about doing things perfectly, doing it right. And if I didn't get my manifestation, within a certain amount of time, I thought, oh, I did something wrong, and then I'm focusing on doing it wrong instead of just being light about it. Because if you think about it, before I even knew about this intentional consciousness of manifesting things, I was manifesting before I really learned how to do it. And we all are. All of us are manifesting 24/7. That's what we do, right? But if you think back, and I know that you can think back of things, when I wanted to be a teacher, I finally just allowed myself to embrace that desire. But I also knew I need to become that person. So I had to be that person. Well, what was my image of a teacher? Well, I was a smoker at the time. So then I thought, I've got to stop smoking. So I immediately was so determined and so boom, focused on what I needed to do. I dropped all those bad habits. And then all of those things, by just dropping that habit of smoking, my lifestyle started shifting. My identity, my self-concept started shifting. But I wanted to be a teacher so bad that I thought, okay, a good role model is not going out all the time and smoking and drinking. So I stopped that. Then all of a sudden things started shifting. My friendships started shifting. Not that any of those other people were bad. I just started having more uplifting conversations. I started volunteering more. I mean, it was crazy. I started exercising more. It's like it just hit every area of my life. I wasn't worried so much about money. I knew I was going to make, decent money as a teacher, even though everybody thinks that teachers are poor. Listen, I didn't go into teaching. And finally, my college advisor was like, Vicki, what do you really want to do? And I said, I really want to teach, but there's no money. And he always said, when you follow your passion, the money will come. And I believed it. And I've never been poor since. Right. And so that is part of the desire is your passion, your heart. And that's often when when you lose sight of your goal, what you want or desire, you go back to the why are you wanting this? What are you doing? How are you serving? And the first person you have to serve is yourself with self-love, and then you're better able to serve others. But let me tell you, I've got a technique that I used that absolutely worked, and I didn't think it was much of anything. I was like, whatever, this is old school. I've heard about these things. This is not going to work. Well, but I was like, what the heck? I'll try it. Right. And that technique was a vision board. Neville Goddard always talks about, visualizing. And it's not just Neville. I mean, all of the greats. The Silva technique, if you've ever heard of that, I read that book a million times. And you visualize, you imagine, you become it within yourself, and then it projects outside of yourself. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but sometimes we have a hard time imagining things, right? Well, I created a vision board, and it had all these different pictures and words and everything that went with it. And all of a sudden, I didn't think much of it, but I put it in a place where it was actually in my living room. So I looked at it every single day. And when I looked at it, I was sitting on my couch, so I was relaxed. And then as I was relaxed, I was able to look at it and go, and just kind of ponder it, not really having any, resistance, like, okay, I got to have that. Or what about that? I just kind of wondered. I'm like, that's a nice looking house. Those are really bright colors. Those are, I just kind of pondered, and then I'd reread all the words with a relaxed mind. And you know what? It worked within, and I'm going to say 6 weeks. That's about what it was. Out of nowhere, I went from lack-minded to absolutely feeling abundant all the time. Not worried about going to the grocery store, not worried about buying some new clothes, not worried about going out with my friends. Because before I was always like, I got to be careful. I don't want to spend too much money. I want to save for this or whatever. I just kind of went through that whole lack mind. And then with this vision board, literally, because you know what else it did? When you're relaxed and you're kind of being playful in your mind and you're kind of getting curious about some of those images, because you see an image every day, but there might be something different about that image. I had a picture of a house, and I was like, wow, I wonder what it's like to have a pool and friends and family over with that house. And you start developing the story. Well, that is exactly what Neville's trying to tell us, what the Silva method is trying to tell. All of the Dr. Joe Dispenza, all of us are trying to tell you to visualize. Yes, you can do it on your own, but that vision board really helped me to relax, and it just kind of seeped into me. And that's the whole thing, is that we're trying to develop new neural pathways in your brain so you can believe it. You see it, right? And we're going to talk more about one of even the more powerful things other than visualizing in the next couple of videos. And let me tell you, when I relaxed and just had fun with it and really lived life and just knew everything's working out, even when there are, negative circumstances popping up, there's challenging moments, because you're like, man, I was having a good day. I was affirming in my head really well. I was feeling good. I was being a great cheerleader for myself. And then this happened. Why? What did I do? That's just life. That's part of the events to get to where you want. And oftentimes those events seem like they have nothing to do with the money you want, with the person you want, with the improved relationships, with the improved health. So you just have to trust and have faith and just relax in yourself. We're going to talk more about relaxing in yourself, understanding the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, and how that can really, really escalate and get you into that manifesting mode and just relaxing and having fun. Okay, until next time, go ahead and like, share, and comment. And also, I have one-on-one coaching. All the information is below in the description. All right, until next time. Bye-bye.